Another 5-minute mystery.
Now, Sheriff, just one more question and my interview will be finished.
Okay, that paper of yours certainly wants to know everything.
What one thing in particular do you think is responsible for your excellent record in solving crimes?
Observation. Keen observation.
Uh-huh.
You can pick up a wealth of information from hearing and remembering seemingly unimportant things. I remember one time... Excuse me.
Sure.
Sheriff Crowley speaking. Yes? Suicide? Ada Belle Fredericks? I'll be there in 5 minutes.
I'm right with you, Sheriff. This is more than the paper bargained for. Shouldn't there be powder burns around the wound, Sheriff, if this is suicide?
Should be. That's why this is no suicide. It's murder.
Murder?
That's right. And I'd like to know where you two fit into the picture. I thought Miss Ada had always lived alone.
Well, I'm Mabel Foster, the old dame's niece. She asked me to come live with her 3 weeks ago as sort of a companion, I guess you'd call it.
Aunt Ada had very strange tastes in her choice of companion.
I'm just as good as you are, you money-grabbing Beethoven.
Break it up. Where do you fit in?
I'm Paul Westcott, a nephew. I came here 3 days ago to discuss some business arrangements at Aunt Ada's suggestion.
What business arrangements?
She was changing her will.
Yeah. Now I gotta share half and half with this chiseler.
I'm afraid you won't be sharing in any of it now, cousin. Murderers don't inherit.
Say, what are you insinuating? I was in the kitchen putting nail polish on my fingers when I heard the shot.
You have a nice manicure job there, Miss Foster. You know, I always smear mine. Haven't the patience to wait 5 minutes for them to dry, I guess.
Who's this female character?
A reporter. Go on.
Well, I was just finishing my left hand when Paul left.
Where'd you go?
I went out the side door to the garage, and I couldn't have shot Aunt Ada from the garage.
But I didn't kill her either. I didn't have any reason.
Seems to me you had plenty of reason, Miss Foster. Both of you.
Cousin Mabel probably wouldn't wait for me to leave. She was just fooling around with her nails waiting. I wasn't out of the house more than 3 minutes when I heard the shot. Mabel probably ran in the bedroom, got Aunt Ada's gun from the dresser drawer, and shot her.
Now I know who murdered old Ada Fredericks, and it wasn't Mabel. It was you, Paul Westcott.
You know how the sheriff trapped Paul, even though he claimed to be in the garage at the time of the shooting? Well, in just one moment, we'll hear. But first... And now, back to our mystery.
You had to be the killer, Paul. Instead of going to the garage, you opened and slammed the door to make Mabel believe you'd gone. Then you tiptoed back into the room and shot your aunt. Mabel couldn't have fired the shot because, as the reporter here said, Mabel's fingers have an unusually nice polish job. Any married man would know that a woman sits around for at least 5 minutes waving her hands in the air so her polish will dry. But you admitted seeing her put the polish on less than 3 minutes before the shot was fired. Mabel couldn't have grabbed the gun out of the dresser and fired it. If she had, her polish would be smeared.
Well, that's what I'd call having an alibi at the tip of your fingers.
Another 5-minute mystery. In Shepherd's Hotel in Cairo, a smooth-skinned, fair-faced Englishman is speaking on the phone.
Detective Lindsay, this is James Middleton, room 517, Shepherd's Hotel. Can you come over right away? There's been a murder. Detective Lindsay, a murder. Please hurry.
James Middleton?
Yes, come in, Detective Lindsay. Glad you're here.
An Arab. Deader than a mackerel, too. Looks like he's been dead for several hours. Where's the corpse?
Benny Sauter, jewel merchant from Mecca.
Mecca, eh? When did you discover the body?
I was right here at the time of the murder.
Fine. An eyewitness right on the spot. Can you identify the murderer, Middleton?
I'm afraid this eyewitness isn't going to be much help. Unfortunately, I had my eyes closed.
You what?
I was out cold, unconscious for about 3 hours and a half.
That's tough, all right. Maybe you're lucky to be alive.
You're right, Inspector.
What brings you to Cairo, my friend, in the hottest season of the year?
I'm an engineer for the British.
When did you arrive in Cairo?
Yesterday. I registered yesterday morning.
I see. And you had arranged to meet Sauder here?
Yes, I wanted to buy some jewels while I was here. Rubies and diamonds to be set in a ring for my wife.
I see.
As we were looking at the jewels, someone knocked on the door. I opened it. There stood another Arab. He started toward the center of the room, then turned on me and struck a lightning blow. I went out like a light.
You have got a nasty bump, all right.
Sauter got what he deserved, that dirty double-crossing rat. Insisted on cash and plenty of it.
How much did you have?
The equivalent of 10,000 pounds in Arabian banknotes.
Quite a lot of money for you to be carrying around.
Yes, but I plan to spend it right away. Funny, isn't it, how naive we can be?
How do you mean?
It's obvious enough. Sorta needed an accomplice to rob me. But he didn't figure out that his greedy cutthroat friend would turn the tables on him, murder him, and make away with the jewels and money, too.
Middleton, you suffered a great financial loss. But don't let it worry you. You can postpone that trip to the Suez indefinitely. Sorry to spoil your plans, but you're under arrest for the murder of Benny Sauda.
How did Detective Lindsay know that Middleton was the murderer? Do you know? In a moment, Detective Lindsay will tell you himself. But first... And now, back to our mystery.
Middleton, your alibi has beautiful logic up to a certain point. Like all criminals, in order to clear yourself, you go one step too far. Sauda was innocent. Your imaginary murderer was quite credible, but you didn't dare to stop there. The Arabs are a strange people. It may interest you to know about one of their strange customs. In the interior, people resort to barter. In the cities, British pounds, Turkish pounds, and Indian rupees are used. But since the time of the great Mohammed, the religious laws of the Mohammedans have prohibited the use of banknotes.
Another 5-minute mystery.
Safe should open easily. 2 turns right. Stop at 32. 3 turns left. Stop at 16.
Get away from that safe, Carter.
I was just checking on some tickets that I left in the safe tonight, Mr. Thompson.
Carter, you've been a cashier with this railroad for 15 years. How could you think of doing such a thing?
Oh, what are you talking about?
You've been gambling rather heavily these past few weeks, Carter. You decided to let the railroad recoup your losses. Well, stay where you are. I'm calling the police.
Oh, no, you're not.
Put down that bar, you fool.
All right, I'll put it down.
How are you feeling now, Carter?
A little better, Sergeant Evans. I can't see very well, of course. I broke my glasses in the struggle with the killer, and I'm not much good without them.
I hate to pour these questions at you when you're not up to par, Carter, but it's important that you help us immediately.
I'll do anything to help the police find the man who killed Mr. Thompson.
Good. Now, you say that you and Thompson came down here to prepare some ticket sales records for the railroad.
Yes.
About what time was that?
I should say about 9 o'clock.
About what time would you say the thief came in?
About an hour later. We heard the door open, and when we turned around from the safe, he was standing near the door, pointing a gun at us.
What happened then?
Well, he demanded we give him the money from the safe.
How did the struggle begin?
Mr. Thompson walked straight at the thief and dared him to shoot. He was warned to stop or he'd be killed, but he continued to go right at him. The thief lost his nerve or something, for as Mr. Thompson made a sudden lunge at him, he didn't shoot, but instead hit him sharply over the head with the butt of his pistol. I ran forward immediately and grappled with the thief. And he landed a blow in my jaw, and I fell to the floor. I got up as soon as I could, but I heard him starting his car outside the office.
Did you run outside?
Yes, the car was just pulling away, but I managed to get the first 5 numbers on the license plate. I wrote them down on this slip of paper.
Oh, yeah. This will be a big help in the evidence to be presented at court.
Well, I'll be happy to testify.
That's a wise idea, Mr. Carter. The murderer always should at his own trial.
What clue did Sergeant Evans uncover that led him to accuse the railroad cashier of murder? In just a moment, we'll know. But first, and now, back to our story.
Are you accusing me of murdering Mr. Thompson?
Yes, Carter. There was one slip in your story that gave you away. You admitted to me only a few minutes ago that you lost your glasses in the struggle with the thief, and that you were helpless without them. Yet you managed to run outside the building and jot down several numbers of a license plate on a moving car in the middle of the night. No, Carter, there was no thief. But there was a murderer. Yourself.